Yeah. All right, we are recording. This is going to be the first podcast entry of the Toda la Noche podcast. I guess we'll just call it Toda la Noche, right?
Yeah.
This is the Toda la Noche podcast. We have here with us the founder, creator, the brains of the operation, Nicholas Messina. You guys are going to be hearing this name a lot. Especially, we're going to get people we're trying to get people to just obviously, dude, we're on this we're crushing it right now with this media blitz. I think you felt
storm,
it too.
a media storm.
Yeah, you felt it too. Oh, by the way, I'm DJ Mustachio and this is Nick Messina. And yeah, dude, we're crushing it right now with this media storm of because we just finished the last TODA La Noche party, which was this past Saturday, July 2nd.
July 2nd, yeah.
And this was the 4th of July weekend, and I guess, yeah, dude, we're on this, man. We're gonna start recording these every time we have a TODA La Noche.
Yeah, every post TLN, right?
Yeah, post. We have a recap, how it felt, what it was, and I mean, for the listeners who love salsa, this is gonna be some inside edition type shit. So whatever.
Yeah, and the event itself, I think is a pretty authentic experience.
It's everything you wanted to piece together, and I mean, we've been in the salsa scene for a minute. Yeah. There's so much to go into, man. But yeah, I mean, obviously we're just gonna keep it really short. Hopefully, we just record, snippets here and there, and I don't know, man.
Yeah, man.
So that's it, man. We're here at the Casa in Astoria. We'll probably grab a bite to eat in a second, right?
Yeah, we gotta fuel up.
Got Nick Messina, Nick's lady,
Wifey
Yo-Yo.
JoJo.
Wifey JoJo. Yeah, so I mean, dude, this is the first time we ever do this. I feel like I could just fucking piece I want to pick your brain as far as how you felt the party went. I mean, for the listeners who just fucking found this shit, this is the type of party where it's once a month, right?
Yeah, it's a once a month party.
And it's just straight salsa music, right?
It's straight salsa. That's the idea.
Just dance.
Yeah, we actually this last event we had a lot of requests for bachata that were sort of interesting and quasi comical exchanges.
Really? Who's requesting bachata?
A few people. One gentleman in particular, he came to the DJ booth. And
guy, old guy?
Oh, younger guy. I don't know. It's maybe Russian. Had a little bit of an accent. And he's like, excuse me, you play bachata? And I'm like, nah. And he's like, not at all, all night. And I'm
wow.
and I'm pretty much like, yeah, no, not at all, not tonight, not once in 5 years has there been a bachata.
It's probably his first time there because this shit.
Yeah, by now you should pretty much have figured out. Most, we'll play we'll throw down some funky cha-chas to slow the vibe up, but it's salsa, mambo, guaguancó, a little bit of cha-cha, but for the most part, it's, again, salsa enthusiasts. You want to come out, you want to get your dances in, you want to dance with a high level social dancing and in an environment that's forgiving, and you don't feel like you're ostracized, or everyone should feel included. It's all about inclusivity. That's the ultimate goal. If we can strive for that and attain that, we would be ultimately.
Yeah, I thought this past. I mean, there were some cha-chas that were played, and I thought it was key to have more cha-chas that night because it was so busy.
Yeah.
That you play a lot of cha-chas. I guess it kind of thins the room out a little bit. People can relax.
Yeah.
But yeah, I felt like the cha-chas that were played were at the right moment. Was that Rudy who was playing it?
I played a cha-cha. Mario played a cha. I think we all slowed up the vibe.
What made you guys want to play? Was it because oh shit, it's busy, let's do some cha-cha?
Well, for me, it was primarily song select. Based on song selection. If some of the guest DJs had played some longer up-tempo songs, and I may have contributed to that myself, it gets to a point where you say, you know what, we've sucked a lot of the energy out of the room, and it's important that you sort of let things repercolate or get to a healthier.
Yeah, I'm wondering, is it key to play more cha-chas if it's busier, or if it's not that busy or not as crazy as it was? It was a sweat box, dude.
It was.
But do you think you play just more I'm thinking you play more salsas if it's just not as jam-packed, and then you play more cha-cha if it, I don't know.
Yeah, well, for me personally, my personal opinion on the matter is there are some more suave type of salsas that actually feel cool to me. I mean, they actually
mellow and kind of
in their vibe, in the vibe of the recording, it can actually have a cooling effect. I believe that, and there's a few songs that I like to play to achieve that. I think that cha-chas are nice to sort of break up the momentum and kind of create a space where you can, come off the dance floor, have a little bit of conversation, let things cool down, and then pick the tempo right back up. Being on the administrative side, part of you sort of get torn between these two worlds of one. Sometimes I want to drive the tempo of the party really high and intense, not just because the floor responds to it, but it's nice when in our heyday when we had a full bar and we were rocking some really frosty cocktails.
It's so weird. Somebody was asking about drinks. There was like 2 or 3 people that asked about like, hey, where are the drinks at? And it was all new people, like the people that like I told like it's their first time there. Like, why is there no drinks? I was like, it's BYOB, but they were like, oh man. They were like asking for a bar and shit, but
yeah, well, even our BYOB should be sort of hush and under the table.
You can't
shouldn't be something that we're publicly condoning. But
obviously you just don't like advertise it. You just tell them like, hey, bring your own stuff.
But you're certainly welcome to bring your own
brown bag.
Yeah, we want that to be a part of the experience. If you just want to come and enjoy the atmosphere and have a sip on a little something and have a
I mean, dude, this party's starting to become something more of a, and this is the thing, man, like for 5 years we just didn't fucking do shit. Pictures was probably like the biggest focus, and that was like a pain in the ass to even get going, and then getting the videos going.
Well, yeah, I would say the first 2 years. I'd say the first 2.5 years there was very minimal.
But there was so much that was going right. Like you had Carlos in the mix. We had Carlos Borges.
Carlos Borges was huge.
Master technician, dude. The guy. I think we got to bring him back, dude. But whatever. Like I have these dreams where I want to ask him. Like I just want to send him a Facebook message, like, bro, come on, man, just come back. Like, dude, you just have to like do the graphics, man. You don't even have to show up. Just come back. Just do the graphics for us.
Yeah, he was a tremendous help in our growth, for taking pictures and helping optimize on social media.
Because back then it was just like, let's just get the party going. We don't even know what we're doing, or you didn't. Dude, I wasn't even there. Like I was like DJing on another party on Saturdays and.
Yeah, well, I think it's a little more complicated than that. I mean, back then there were some political reasons, the other partners involved in the party as to why.
Oh, that's right. The very beginning.
Why we couldn't approach things the way we wanted to. But the minute things sort of, I don't know, shifted in my direction as far as creative control, there were a lot of small steps or big steps that
once you just took over.
That gave me the freedom to invest the kind of money I wanted to invest, to contact the kind of people, utilize whatever resources I thought might help.
And mind you, this is like no performances, no. I mean, we had guest DJs and stuff like that, but there was no like.
No gimmicks.
Yeah, no gimmicky like, hey, we're gonna have so and so, blah blah blah.
Well, what's funny when you start taking help, there needs to be a reciprocation, and even we're probably the most unpolitical party. Or organization going, and I say that because we don't really contribute to the performance aspect, and so we don't need the reciprocation from that, and we don't take, money from anyone, and so we don't owe anyone anything, and it kind of gives us a little bit of independence. But there are people who have been incredibly supportive and have
it's a fine line, right?
And at points I do feel obligated to return and reciprocate,
right.
And it is the right thing to do. I sort of hate that aspect of it, though. But yeah, it does need to be a two-way street.
It's really a fine line because like I feel like this party is bordering on like I mean, it's simple. Like we want to cater to the people that just want to dance, like the social.
That's it.
Dude, you know how? Dude, somebody was telling me. Silvio. One of the guys that teaches salsa in New York City. Anybody wants to know? No, he was saying that it was really cool how he mentioned he was telling us after class. I go to class on Tuesdays, his beginner class, because I don't really dance that much. He was saying like where the word social actually originated from. Like social originated from how in Manhattan, like the Palladium and all that shit. These bands, they would literally go from like club to club to play, right? And I don't think it has to do anything with the extra party, but so when they would play, they would, that's all there was. There was no DJ, there was no like speaker system. So they would play music, and then in between the breaks, that was the socializing. Like I just fucked up the whole story, but yeah, you would socialize, and that's why they call it a social. Like this is like the time of the social. So, a break in between when the next band goes up. Isn't that crazy, dude? I can't even imagine not having a radio or like somewhere like, oh, put on the MP3 player at least, or waiting for the next band. Like, dude, there was no fucking like speakers. I don't know. That just blows my mind.
Yeah.
But it is a fine line how we, I guess back to my original point, how it's, because like in the salsa scene, if you guys aren't familiar with New York City salsa dancing, and dude, are there any podcasts about like salsa? I don't think there is.
I'm not really sure. I only listen to a few podcasts, and the ones that I do listen to are
that's nothing to do with
they're basically self-improvement.
I have dude, I listen to every podcast that has nothing to, like, it's like hunting. I'm starting to get into hunting podcasts, which is fucking weird, but dude, so like you're catering to like a whole crowd, and it's not about like catering to the divas of the scene, and like you would say like, the political aspects, and it's tough because like some people want to alienate this party, but now like we've become something to where like it's more of a, dude, we're like a relic, we're like an outlier where people are like, oh yeah, we still respect this TODA La Noche party, even though they don't like bring the performances, and dude, because like we could easily be shunned and just alienated and ostracized by these hardcore performers. I feel like a couple, maybe last year, I feel like that could have happened. Like where remember like there was a point where like every social was like, if you're not blah blah blah, you got this performer and this performance team, and they were like holding it down. They would go on Facebook and they just go nuts. They'd be like, we're gonna be performing here. If you guys aren't gonna be here, then you're missing out. And then like the regular social, like they would just, hey, we're just playing music. Haha, you wanna come out and dance? All right. You don't know us. But now that's kind of like gone. I think people really just hate the saturation of performing is just done. So it's fucking great.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think that when you're performing, and it's something that I, to a certain degree, I respect.
I like performances. I love performers, and it's cool how like but they come to TODA La Noche knowing that like it's like, oh yeah, I don't have to put on my performance face. I can come here and just dance.
Right. I think what we can all acknowledge to be true about performances in this community is that you have them. They're backstage. They're prepping. They're nervous. They want to perform.
Yeah.
They perform. There's less socialization. There's less interaction with other average patrons. Myself would be included in that. And then you sort of feel like there's a little bit of a disconnect. And that's something that I've always been sort of receptive to. True. I'll never forget one of the first meetings I had with the crew, probably before you were on board, when Nelson left, and I took over.
Nelson Flores.
Yeah, the immediate goal was to make people feel comfortable, to make people feel welcomed, and that meant interacting and saying hello and accommodating. And again, the theme of inclusivity has been the primary focus, and I wholeheartedly believe that that's been the reason for that element in the environment that you really can't quite put your finger on. It doesn't matter if you've danced 20 years and you've created a business for yourself and you've performed all over the world, and you're this. If you come, you're gonna shell out $13 to $15 for the admission, and the level of fun that you have and the level of participation you have directly depends on you. And come be a part of the party and contribute, and everyone's welcome, and there is no favoritism and there is no politics, and
yeah,
it's free of all that, and I think that's what's very special about it.
So yeah, so this part, what did you think? What did you think came out cool? Like, because we get there early, we get there like at fucking.
Oh yeah.
We get there like at 5 or 6.
Yeah, it's fucking brutal.
And we set up, and I remember the setup used to be sucky, and then we got on this new diet, and then now it just feels like the setup's way easier. I'm gonna definitely say this diet definitely helped this shit, man. Like, I don't know.
It does. I would say that I think this is an interesting thing to talk about. There's a lot of people who show up to lots of events, and I can tell you firsthand, lots of events, a lot of work goes into them, and they're not lucrative, so it sucks most of the time. But what I will say is,
and salsa, you're not making this is the thing, we don't make $1 million in salsa. Like, it's some months suck, some months are great, but like for the most part, if you even it out, like what? It's like you're making pennies.
it's not. There's not a lucrative. It's not a lucrative.
Yeah, folks. A lot of for these salsa events, if you're a salsa fanatic, like and you see the work that's done, like the behind the scenes is just, it's just not worth the effort. You're not gonna make a lot of money. So I mean, everybody who's making these parties happen, like it's the labor of love, and like it's just you hope that you can break even.
Well, something to consider is every production is very different. Like you can have, if your parties are at a dance board per se, everything's in place. You have a legitimate full running bar. You have a sound system that's in place. You have lighting that's in place. Everything is sort of done out for you. In a space like Stepping Out, there are those things that exist. We don't utilize any of them. So we set up our own tables.
Yeah,
we bring our own tablecloths. We bring our own lighting
At the beginning,
system.
you had to bring in everything.
I brought in everything.
The ice, the fucking when there was a
drinks,
bar,
the bartenders. So we have one of the larger staffs. We have one of the heavier-handed productions. I don't think that there's another social happening in the city that's as laborious as our party and our event.
The planning.
Because we really, again, we get there at 5 o'clock. 5 p.m. and we leave there at 5 p.m. It's a 12-hour ordeal.
5 p.m., 5 a.m., yeah.
Every production. And there's a lot of staff. There's a lot of expenses in that staff. There's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of materials, again, from lights, sound system, DJ equipment, photography equipment, pre- and post-production completely aside. Hands-on production at the event is basically a 12-hour, very strenuous experience. And I would love to I wish that I had nothing to do with this event and I could just show up, hang out in a dark, dimly lit corner, have a drink, get my dances in, and just walk the fuck out at the end of the night. But
it's on cruise control, right?
But,
just like everything's there.
That's never gonna. I just wish I had nothing to do with it. I wish I could just be a patron.
That's like what that Kanye West line where he's like, my biggest regret in life is that I'll never be able to like see my own self perform or some shit.
Yeah.
He's like, it just really sucks that like it's just an amazing performance. I just never see it. I feel that way with DJing too. Like when I'm DJing, I'm like, man, I wish that somebody was playing the shit that I was playing so I could listen to the same shit.
Yeah.
And then I'd be like, oh my god, this guy read my mind and he knows everything. And I'd probably be jealous too, but it would just be awesome.
Well, yeah, I could relate. I sort of would love to have this unbiased understanding of what this particular event is. Like rewind the clock 8 years ago and just this event exists and I can just go experience it from the opposite side of the spectrum as a patron. And I wonder how I would feel about it. I'm very opinionated and hypercritical of myself and most things. But I do wonder what I would think of the event if I was divorced from it. I would probably have my critiques.
I mean, that's the thing too. Like I felt like as a whole, this last party was everything went right. Like everything went right when it needed to go right, and there was like these little hiccups, but like nothing like before. Like before, like there'd be like weird like technical issues. Oh, that's right, dude. The month before. The month before that technical issue that was there, like where the music just cut out.
Yeah, the mixer burnt out on us.
The mixer kind of went out, and you had to reset everything. And there was like a good 5 minutes where we were like, oh shit.
Probably more than that. That was the most dead space we've ever had in all of our 5 years, and it was equipment based, which I'll take over human error. I have a very low tolerance for human error.
Yeah, human error sucks. But I mean, that's the thing when you have because all right. So the party consists of 3 DJs. Yeah. And it's Rudy Acosta, aka the Power of Love.
Yeah.
I love saying that line. And then it's obviously, and then DJ Mustachio, me.
Yeah.
And before, so it used to be just Rudy. And then I came on and I was helping Rudy with me and him. And that was like a year after that or 2 years later.
Yeah, so it started off just Rudy and
then you asked me to come back. I mean, it was funny. I was always there. Like, what was I, taking pictures before that? Or no, I wasn't even, that's right. I started DJing there and then Carlos was taking pictures.
Yeah.
And he was doing the video and stuff.
Yeah, I wanted to create more variety in what was being offered musically. Rudy's a dear friend of mine, and I think he's a super talented.
Yeah, he was DJing before I even showed up on the scene. I showed up on the scene like 2009, I think.
Yeah, he's been DJing a long time. He knows a lot about dance, a lot about the music, and he's a talented musician himself.
Yeah, he's a good dancer, and he's a good musician. Like, the guy actually, he still plays piano? He still practices,
he still studies. And then,
yeah, we're at 3 o'clock right now. You guys want to get something to eat, or you guys good right now, or?
Yeah, I'd love to get some food.
Oh yeah, we can just pause it and we'll go to the spot.
Yeah.
What time? You gotta get to the city when? By 3:30?
I have a little bit of time. I'd like to get there 4 o'clock the latest.
All right, yeah. Let's jump in the car. We'll go to Bear Burger and then yeah, we'll sit down. I mean, we could sit inside or outside and get in like quiet little section of the spot. It should be empty, so
We could walk there, right?
we could walk there
All right, cool.
if you want to walk. Yeah,
I mean, I don't mind driving if there's parking, but you know how that shit goes.
parking. I mean, there'll be parking, but it'll be pain. You have to drive around for a minute. But walking's. I mean, it'll take like it's like a 15-minute, 20-minute walk though, so you got to be careful with that. I don't know if that's gonna be.
Cut into my time.
Yeah, because if we're there, we're chilling
All
out.
right, we could drive. That's fine.
So we'll drive it up. Yeah, and then we'll commence. We'll keep chatting it up. So. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back inside. We're in the Bear Burger.
I don't know what to do. I don't know where it is.
Nick is trying to delete.
Stop it.
He's trying to delete an Instagram.
Yeah, seriously, I'm getting frustrated.
I mean, if anything, you can just try when you get back home or whatever, and then just try to delete it like later on
Fuck
tonight.
you, Jonathan.
I don't want to. I'll just fucking do it right now.
Edit profile. I don't get it.
I haven't been to Bear Burger in years, but they definitely stepped it up. You know, the cool thing about Bear Burger is that they actually, you know, everything that they get is like really sourced well. Like they work with the local farms. The owner is actually really legit as far as like trying to keep it like, you know, he's not trying to cut corners basically. And you can tell. I remember when they first opened. This was like one of the first locations, and then they just ballooned. There's like 2 in the story right now. It's hilarious. Because everything's better with 2. So, I mean, I thought... I mean, this is what you guys are listening to right now. This is the beginning. This is the beginning. I keep getting all these texts. Jesus. This is the beginning of the media push. You know, and for the longest time, you know, when it comes to salsa parties, a lot of salsa parties, they don't really do this. They don't really go out of their way, and I get it. It's, you know, it's a lot of it's just like our own leisure, your own time, and everybody's got their regular jobs. But that's where this party is kind of different, though. Like my job is not. My job is just literally just playing music and trying to just, you know, get the next gig, basically. So that's what I'm saying, folks. Like, you guys are gonna see more of this within the next year, 2016. Oh yeah, let me put you guys. Oh, you guys got seltzers. Mm-hmm. You guys want some waters? Mm-mm. No water? Anybody water? You go with your seltzer. All right.
It won't let me do any
So
of
go
this.
to whatever website.
Yeah, just figure it out in a second, dude. 'Cause like it's probably something really simple. Like maybe what you have to do is like restart your phone or like log out, log back in. Also, you can do multiple accounts. You can log into multiple accounts.
I have multiple accounts. I have my dog business.
Right, so you
Gold
see them
Coast
all. You
Canine
see them all there,
NYC.
right?
I have
Oh yeah, oh, shameless push right here. What was that again? So Nick also dabbles in. He has a very successful dog business.
yeah, dog training business.
So you train dogs and
Yeah.
you, I guess you take care of them too or something.
Yeah,
You know, he talks about
I
like
board and train. I board
nutrition, all
dog
that
walking
stuff.
services, which I'd like to expand out into the Astoria, Long Island City area.
There it is, ladies and gentlemen.
But yeah, the dog business is fantastic. I've spent a lot of time over the last couple of years educating myself and practicing and honing the skill. It's an interesting craft.
Yeah, what's cool, you know, and we were always talking about, you know, even before, you know, we've known each other for a while, whatever, but we were always talking about, like, you know, just trying to create your own path. And, you know, even before you started, you went off and dude, you took a big risk, man. You jumped, like, you had a really good paying job, but it was doing, like, you know, stuff you hated or whatever. You worked for some dude, you took care of his, you're like a...
I managed a very high-end estate, $18 million single-family mansion on the Upper West Side of Manhattan for a family.
And you did that for what, a couple years?
Yeah, for about 2 years. And then I actually enjoyed the work. What I didn't like about it is that it was very routine. You know, you show up, you put in your work. It was, you know, it was a good job. In hindsight, I probably should have kept it. But
I mean, there's probably some days where you're just like, man, that steady.
It just doesn't really go anywhere.
That steady income is great, but obviously, like, you know, you don't get to really focus on what you want to do.
Yeah, like, where do you go? You know, as long as you show up and go to work, you get your paycheck. But
then you get sucked into the whole, like.
But then you're sucked into that sort of a pattern, and you got to ask yourself if, you know, if that's the way you want your experience to go while you're here.
I mean, dude. So yeah, you took that plunge, and I think that's where we're all at right now. Always taking those risks.
Yeah, risks are a part of it. I actually like being sort of in a vulnerable position. It's a little bit more exciting.
That's how I feel like every time we do a TODA La Noche party. That's how I always feel like. It's just like that vulnerable moment where you're just like.
Yeah. Every month, about 2 days before the event, my wife has to endure me in my most anxious state.
Really? So you get anxious like 2 days before?
Every month I you know, spinning my wheels on if everything's in place, if everything's right, if I'm overseeing anything, how it's gonna go. Just anxious. It's just a body of anxiety. I'm anxious to get into the event, full peak, and
there's always that moment right before the event starts. You know, we get there early, we set up. We usually finish setup by like 7:30ish, but usually by 7:30 there's always something wrong, and it's just like, oh, it's not ready yet, and then we always gotta find something.
That's ownership of the venue, which is George for Stepping Out Studios. There just always seems to be a debacle of different degrees that you have to sort of overcome, whether it's, you know, a room full of rentals or a double booking of a party or accommodating this, accommodating that. There's no tables, there's no furniture, there's no seats, there's no water, there's, you know.
And what was cool about this particular night, it was the 4th of July weekend, so everybody was out of town. Usually the studio that we're at, Stepping Out Studios, we do this party every month. Like, usually there's private lessons going on at the same time. Like, all the rooms around the actual room that we're in are all booked, and they're doing like classes, and it's just a hassle to have to get in and try to get the other stuff out. And in this case, it was all empty. Like, we had the whole place to ourselves. We didn't have to worry about that. And I remember I kept saying like, oh man, it's so empty today. It's gonna be so empty. And you kept freaking out because you were just like, dude, bro, you thought that I was talking about like the actual night in general. You were like, come on, man.
Let's not talk about empty.
So, dude, you're getting the vibe wrong. And it was weird because like they're obviously, dude. Every time I start the party off, I'll DJ from like 8 to 11, and I'll take photos afterwards. But from 8 to, there's always like that moment where I see that look on his face, on your face, bro. Like from 8 to like 10.
Yep.
Like he's like, oh my god, everybody's out of town. They might not show up. Nobody's gonna be here.
It's getting late. It's 10:30.
It should be.
It's light.
Should be here
It's
right
a little
now.
light. It's a little light.
It's a little bit light. And it's
10:45. It's a little slow for 10:45.
Dude, I take pride in trying to get people there early because obviously I DJ early, and I don't want to DJ it later on. Like I want to take pictures afterwards, so I try to get people there earlier, and I've always been I'm focusing on that. I'm always working on that, and like I guess I don't know. I think it's starting to happen a little bit. It's starting to like crease in.
Yeah.
You know, I'm trying to like promote like more like the early crowd.
It's hard to say because it's hard to say because we offer a reduced admission. So are we getting those few people who'd like to save a buck or two?
I don't think so. I think that they just show up because they don't want to have to deal with the late night.
There's other people who don't want to be out terribly late, and we are open terribly late. I think we stopped the music at 4 a.m. this last party.
What was the thing? The TODA La Noche was called TODA La Noche because it started
at 10.
At 10:30 or 10.
Yeah, 10
It was weird, like 10:30, and people would show up like literally. All right, so dude, tell them. Talk about like how you started the party in general. Like just give a little synopsis of like why you decided to start at 10 o'clock, and because you started this like 5 years ago?
5 years ago.
So 5 years ago there was nothing going on Saturday.
Well, there was a small party going on at Charisma uptown.
Every Saturday?
Yeah, great salsa school. And at the time, it's just a great following, and Charisma had a lot of the culture. You know, a lot of great dancers had moved, gone through their studio, and it was a social that I had frequented. You know, I would go there And I would consistently go there and be sort of uncomfortable with the amount of space that was available and uncomfortable with the level of heat.
You would go there?
Yeah, heat in the room. It was a sweat box.
Where were they located?
It's a bit, I think,
I thought Chris was like uptown.
Yeah, it's like 108th and Broadway or 104th and Broadway. It's one of the, like that general area.
Wow. You would actually go up there?
Yeah, I would go there. And I was also sort of always underwhelmed with the caliber of music that was played there. I forget the name of the DJ. I think it was
2011?
DJ Danny or something like that. And
what happened to him? Just disappeared?
I think I don't even know if they're still there doing their party. They might be. It just sort of, there was just this, it was not the best social, and I won't even focus on that as bad energy. I'll just say that there was an opportunity for me at Stepping Out Studios to start my own social. It was a scary thing. I conceptualized this TODA La Noche event that would be a really like through the night. The idea of having a New York City event that was all night long.
At like 4 a.m.
From like sundown to sunrise was sort of the basic concept.
It sounds like a really common thing now, but in 2011, that
was not happening. Most socials in 2011 were
Sundays
in a brightly lit gymnasium or a brightly lit church.
And a social was only on a Sunday.
And it was on a Sunday.
And there was nothing going on. I remember that. There was nothing going on a Saturday. There was like literally...
If there was a Saturday thing, it was
one
just
time out of the year or something.
Mambo Mama had a social back then.
Was that on Saturdays?
I think it was a Saturday. There was just very few parties happening, and all of which, in my personal opinion, were lacking substance. So that was sort of the initiative of pushing this thing forward, which was like, let's do a late night thing with some substance and some atmosphere and some charisma.
Yeah, this was. I remember when it first started. It was like the one party where you would go, and drinking was like one of those things where it wasn't just about dance. It was like, hey, we're hanging out. Oh, cool, I got my peeps with me. Oh, I brought a bottle. Da-da-da-da-da. Let's have some drinks. We're hanging out. We're having a good time. And it was like the first time you could actually pull that off in a studio-based environment. And yeah, like you were saying, it was a gymnasium. Like for most of these socials, like the lighting sucks.
You'd go,
the sound system is just blah.
95% of any salsa social you went to was white lights everywhere, and wooden floors and white walls, and that's what you got. And right now the landscape is very different.
Yeah, if you guys ever go to Stepping Out Studios, I mean, you were the one that brought the lights to Stepping Out Studios. Because if you just go there, it was like regular, just white wall.
Yeah.
Just blah.
Yeah, it was terrible. It was awful. In fact, it was god awful. And I went out. Invested a lot of money in LED lighting. And
you bought lights, man. That's hilarious.
Yeah,
that's huge.
And then I put them everywhere. And that was sort of the first thing that set us apart from everything else. Was we had all blue lights at the time. I went out and I bought all blue CFL lighting. And that's just how we got the room, like electric blue. Like
I remember
it was like the blue room.
It was like literally blue.
It was blue everywhere. It was funny. And then once we did that added a layer of something that people sort of liked.
It was like another color. It was basically.
But then what you started to see was all the other socials in the community started investing in their lighting because they thought that was the element that separated us.
Yeah, I feel like all those other socials they look at what we're doing and then they always try to like emulate that.
Yeah.
And it's not like they literally don't copy, but they're seeing oh they added lights. Oh let me see what I can do now. And
yeah, I do think that we were sort of an important piece of propelling things forward in terms of environment.
There it is. Wow, dude, they got that wrap.
Thank you.
Awesome, thank you. Appreciate it. Yes. Yeah, look at the duck bacon, dude. It looks really nice and dark.
I think it's in there.
I'm just gonna go ahead and pause this, and then after we finish eating, we'll wrap it up. All right, so let's just wrap it up. We just finished eating an amazing meal. That duck bacon was dope.
It was awesome. I don't understand how they get that to taste just like bacon.
Yo, one thing about freaking Bear Burgers, they always make you, like, it feels like it's like a high-end restaurant in the portions. Like, you never feel like, oh my gosh, they gave me so much.
Yeah.
It's always like, it's just enough. Just enough. So yeah, you guys are gonna be hearing more about this. We'll probably do this once a month. Maybe if we find some more time, we'll do in between a little more. But I think right after the event recap. Anything else you guys want to say as far as what you thought about the event? Some cool tidbits or.
No, I think I got to make a couple of adjustments in getting the heating addressed. So maybe start the air conditioner a little cooler, work on some circulation tactics.
Was it really cold? I mean, was it on? You had something around.
It was hot, And
but I thought the AC was fully on.
It was. It was just too many people.
The fans. I mean, it was the summertime.
Yeah, it's just too many. Anytime you get 300 people in a room, a box like that, and just moving that much.
Yeah, those fans didn't even matter. It was weird. Like, they just did not matter. Like, all those... It sounds like a jet engine when nobody's in there.
Yeah, it's the worst. But anyway, we'll work on, addressing some of that. But all in all, just really appreciative. And
even at that, it's still the coolest party, like, as in, like, temperature-wise, out of all the other parties.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Like, they don't really know what... They don't know what they're doing in terms of, like, the cooling, so... But it was boiling.
Yeah, but all in all, it was a really nice turnout, and the energy was right, and the vibe was right. It's odd. Sometimes you get less people, but the energy feels good, or sometimes you get more people, but the energy's not good. It's nice when the vibe and the energy is right, and it feels like a good party, regardless of how many attendees there are. So.
And that's the main goal too.
Anything else right now?
That's about it.
Yeah, I think we're fine. A napkin would be wonderful.
A little wet wipe there.
But yeah, all in all, it would be great to just. I'm looking forward to doing the next party and
which is going to be August the 6th. Shameless plug.
That's right. That's right.
Every first Saturday of the month, August the 6th.
Yeah. So yeah, already anxious to get going with that.
And that's the thing too. Like the whole month, I'm obviously editing photos. We're getting videos. Right now, we're just you were trying to deal with some Instagram stuff. So we're really trying to get the ball rolling. And yeah, we'll post this up. Hopefully, I'll post it like by tomorrow, or maybe hopefully by probably tomorrow.
Yeah, that'd be great.
On the YouTube channel, so we'll get you guys to subscribe and make sure you guys like the page, and you guys are gonna see a lot more. I mean, for the most part, this is basically a podcast for people who are salsa fanatics, like people who they love salsa music, salsa dancing.
There you go.
Thanks,
Thank
appreciate it. And they're into salsa in general.
And we're almost up to 2,000 organic likes on the page, which is not a lot of likes.
Dude, I want to talk about that.
Not a ton of likes, but at some point we should talk about it.
I wanted to talk about that.
The organic number build.
It's a real number. And this is the so we have a Facebook page. There's the TODA LA NOCHE Facebook page on Facebook. You can just look up TODA LA NOCHE.
TODA LA NOCHE at Stepping Out Studios.
Right. But if you're on Facebook, you just do a search, it'll just come up. And it should be for YouTube is what? Is it TODA LA NOCHE on YouTube as well? I can't remember.
I think it is, yeah.
Yeah, so you do the same search. But dude, this is the thing. Like, everybody on Facebook, everyone who does these parties, they buy these fake likes, and it's just horrible. So you'll see like all these other salsa parties or salsa Facebook pages, 6,000 likes or 10,000 likes, and it's like half of those, not even half, like 30% of those are real, and then the rest are just India or some
bought and paid for.
Yeah, bought and paid.
And the other thing is a lot of these other organizers are manipulating their invitation RSVPs.
Right.
3,000 people attending the event.
RSVPing.
It's like, really, 3,000 people?
You can't. Come on. If you have 300 people in the place, it's madness. To have 3,000 RSVPs is just insane. So yeah, it just sucks. So
we'll touch on that on another cast.
So I think it's cool that we're on the right path and stuff, and that's why I always with the hashtags I always put organic, because it's literally organic people who like this page. Like there's no. I've been telling more people to like the page too, so I feel like I'm helping out with that, which is dope. But yeah, people will come by, they'll be like, hey, where can we see the photos? And I'll be like, let me show you right now. Just like this page. All right, so yeah. Make sure you guys like this, and we'll be seeing you guys on that next one. Alright, cool. Alright, let's peace out. Awesomeness, and I'll see you guys. I'm trying to just think. Anything else? Yeah, it was a good party. Good vibes, and alright, that's it. Cool. Signing off. Peace out.